Elon Musk finally confirmed another big piece of news for Tesla. Do you remember when he said 3 significant improvements to FSD will roll out roughly every 2 weeks, should be really shining bright by late April or early May? Well, ladies and gentlemen, not only are we having a new point release rolling out right now, but Elon Musk just confirmed that indeed FSD 12.4 is a big release and should arguably be V13 and it's coming soon. And if you remember, Elon said that one of the point releases earlier was going to be a big deal, and it was. So Elon's credibility when it comes to FSD has been improving significantly. I was starting to have thoughts that maybe Elon was again over-promising with this post here. But look, I just got 12.3.4, and for me it drives noticeably better. And now we have another point release, or I guess in this case point release already going out to other people. And I'm starting to think that that post from Elon Musk about a month ago is going to become true. And if you like good Tesla stock news like this, click the like button and subscribe. The current version can already do all of my basic driving. It only really struggles during rush hour traffic. And the way this was written, it implies that before late April, it's not going to be shining bright because the improvements are going to be major. So I'm really looking forward to this new 12.4 version. I'm really happy with how fast the progress has been made. And look, we are having random people that before you would have never seen talking about Tesla's FSD, at least positively. After tonight's drives, I'm getting convinced we are months away from Robotaxi. August 8th might be more than a reveal. It's freaking incredible. If this is 12.3.4, then what is the next point release going to be? And what is 12.4 going to be like? Is driving better than many people I know today. Another version is better than most people. 2 versions and it's godlike. Buckle up, Tesla peeps, let's go. It is already doing every drive itself without intervention in most cases for Omar. Not in 10 years today. And for me, as long as I don't go downtown, that is, yeah, it's a pretty true statement. I don't need to intervene for safety reasons. But I do want to point out FSD V12 as of right now today is definitely not safer than human driving. Absolutely not. But we are having people with amazing FSD experiences for sure. And that is probably only going to accelerate. And here's Dana, just had another stress-free drive to the hospital using FSD with 0 disengagements. I arrived relaxed, focused, and ready to help my patients. In these conditions, I think FSD can probably go for hours without any safety-related interventions. These don't seem difficult conditions. It's only if I go downtown to rush hour traffic that I have more serious issues. And by that, I largely mean FSD just does something rude, but not something that would crash a car. In the US, we see 1.35 fatalities for every 100 million miles traveled. Tesla FSD has now traveled over 1 billion miles. As such, we would have expected more than 14 people to have died if it was no more or less safe than an average human, but there are no known fatalities yet. We are looking at the emergence of a technology that is already preventing hundreds of crashes on net and has potentially saved more than a dozen lives already. I don't think people have wrapped their head around this. However, please note that, for example, the V11, I never even attempted after a little while using the software in very difficult conditions where my chances of crashing are much higher because I just did not have any confidence in the software to handle, for example, construction zones. Not with V12. I actually like changing lanes with FSD on because it can see everything around me while I can only look forward, look back. I can only look in one direction. So while largely you sort of have to throw away this statistic because if you drive during easy conditions only, then of course you'll have less fatalities. But going forward, I think the data is going to be much more accurate. And these FSD drives are getting more and more impressive. 45 minutes of driving without ever turning FSD off, 100% FSD drive. I think relatively soon we are likely to see multi-hour drives with 0 interventions. I think right now, if you spend hours and hours driving, you can probably pull it off already. Maybe not in rush hour traffic, but under conditions like this, I think so. And it doesn't have to be San Francisco. I think I could do it in Vancouver. I would probably need to try a few times. I would need to get a little bit lucky, but the real challenge will be doing it during rush hour traffic downtown. If you can do it for 3 hours, wow, my mind will be extra blown then. Oh, but man, how about the March of Nines? It's easy to get FSD to a place where you can drive without interventions for, let's say, 10 hours. But if once every 10 hours, the software tries to kill you, it's no good. And if we get stuck there for a long time, that's terrible. But look at AlphaGo, for example. In October of 2015, in a match against a really strong player, it became the first computer to beat a human professional Go player. In 2016, computer beats Go champion for the first time. And just 2 years later, after 2015, basically no human can beat the computer anymore. And then AlphaGo 0 was introduced, which surpassed the previous version of AlphaGo in 3 days by winning 100 games to 0. So we quickly went from, oh, you beat this one pretty decent human being, okay, cool, but how about beating the champion? To them beating the champion, to now being completely unbeatable. So I'm not really that convinced that the March of Nines is going to be the main issue. And by the way, the game of Go has more possible moves than atoms in the universe by quite a lot. It's not a simple game. You could sort of say there are many edge cases. And Elon dropped some major news here. It may be possible very soon, said Elon, about FSD basically coming to China. So that's really good. If Tesla does need a lot more data, the easiest way is basically to try to get the data from other countries as well, because effectively you just double the amount of data that you're getting probably basically almost immediately. However, people do drive a bit differently in China. So I'm not sure if you want to merge the data sets that are coming from the US and China into one, because you might have some interesting driving behaviors in North America. Then I live in Vancouver and we got a lot of people from Asia over here. And sometimes I think to myself, I think you're driving over here like as if you lived in China, but this is Canada. But because we know Tesla is no longer compute constrained, maybe it could try to have 2 different FSD versions. One version, okay, combine all of the data from China and North America into one version, and then compare that to the version that's based just on the data from North America and see which one drives better. Maybe if you merge it, maybe actually it's just fine. Maybe then it will handle edge cases better.